Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and welcome back to the Legends of Inside Sports and the Way We Were. We're going back to 1986, December 1986, and we're going to be talking about the plight of the black athlete and the plight or the future or the absence of the head coach in the NFL. Joining us in studio will be Wooly Wood, and we'll be talking to Doc about the quarterback situation all around colleges and in professional football. So let's join them right now, okay?
You just mentioned Willie Wood, and he just walked into the studios. I have two outstanding quarterbacks in major colleges sitting here with me. And as you know, the history of Willie Wood, all-pro, outstanding athlete, had to go into camp as a free agent. Cornelius Green, of course, at Ohio State, led his team to 3 Rose Bowls. Was not drafted at all. What is happening with these guys? When they get to camp, they want to change from quarterback to wide receiver or defensive back. It's directly related to the situation that we're confronted with in terms of all leadership and direction positions in Major League Sports, from owner through general manager and head coach, right down to on the field positions of quarterback, center, middle linebacker, and so forth, catcher in baseball, pitcher to a large extent. Anytime that there is a position involving a presumption of intellectual capability, leadership potential, faith in the athlete's directive abilities by teammates and the public. The athlete, the black athlete, is denied that position. We have a situation in this country where there is a presumed intellectual inferiority as a fact of genetic inheritance in the black race. And this is reflected on the field. And so you get an outstanding quarterback who is throwing balls to a kid such as Jerry Rice from Mississippi Valley State College. And this Jerry Rice can come in. He starts as a wide receiver, has an outstanding year, tremendous potential. But there is tremendous debate over whether or not that young quarterback who threw so well to Jerry Rice could come into the pros and throw to Jerry Rice as a quarterback in the pros. Something happens in transition, and of course, what happens is that the racist presumption of inherent race-linked black intellectual inferiority, leadership, and capability takes over in the white psyche, and they are simply unwilling to run the risk of what will happen in the turnstile if the overwhelming majority of fans who happen to be white come out to the stadium and see a black quarterback, irrespective of whether he wins or loses. So the black quarterback comes in, he's put at a defensive back, or he's put at a wide receiver, or he is put at some other position that has nothing to do with leadership and direction, at least in terms of the way that is interpreted within the context of a particular sport.
Harry, for the last 15 years or so, at least, and that's putting it at the bottom line, you've been talking about, and I'm going to paraphrase you, the quota of positions that when blacks were recruited to Big Tens and blacks were recruited to Pac-10 and elevated football and athletic conferences, that there was a notion that there was a quota on positions, and I think that you developed that well. And you've also, I think, just taken the lead on talking about the qualitative aspects of coaching, and that is being realistic to the athletes of what their professional potentials really are and what the realities of professional sports positions are. I know Arthur Ashe did a piece in the New York Times some 8, 9 years ago, in which he outlined that if you were to quantify the total number of professional jobs in professional sports as athletes, that is, the professional jobs in sports, just add up all of the positions on all of the football teams, baseball, all the positions on all of the teams, football, soccer, basketball, across the board, that if you were to conclude that all of those positions in an idealistic way could actually be won by black athletes, even then you would be looking at such a small number that could actually view professional sports as a viable alternative. Now, the point I'm making is that, and I like this quote you made because I think it's rather dramatic about being hit with a meteorite that would give possibilities and chances. I'd like for you to say something about realistically qualitative difference that you feel a black coach from a black experience, sensitive to the lifestyles of black people and potential of black athletes, such as a Jay Gaither and an Eddie Robinson and a Leroy Walker and an Eddie Hurt. You see, when those guys, whenever you go to those guys and you talk about the Willie Gallimores, or you talk about the Tank Youngers, or you talk about Willie Davis, they always talk about my guys graduated, my guys are doing this and doing that. And I don't think that we have that kind of parable in major predominantly white collegiate athletics. And I'm wondering, do you feel, because I think this is an important difference. I am 100% behind an effort for black coaches, but not just for face dressing reasons. I think that black coaches would bring a qualitative difference to our perspective and our perceptions of what athletics should be at intercollegiate level competition. And I'd like to get your feeling on that, Aaron.
Well, I think that that's an important step. I think it's important to change the character of the personnel as a beginning to changing the character of the institutional underpinnings that really are behind much of the disgraceful, shameful, rip-off actions that have taken place. What Joe Paterno called the rape of the black athlete over the last 20 to 25 years in this country. I think that the bringing in of black personnel is imperative. On the other hand, we must also recognize that there's an institutional thing that is going on here. That is to say that beyond the personalities involved, there is a system of ripping off that also has to be dealt with, involving alumni, involving college presidents who refuse to meet their responsibilities relative to academic integrity across the spectrum of departments and so forth in the university, involving faculty members who literally don't care because they even presume that blacks are not legitimately on the campus as students in any guise, athletes or any other guise, or they presume that athletes are inherently dumb, that there is some mutual exclusivity between athletic proficiency and intellectual prowess. And so there's an institutional thing that has to be dealt with. But it's very simple to deal with one aspect of it, and that is to begin to bring in blacks at the higher decision-making levels so that there can be some impact. And I'm not saying just bring in someone with a black face, but bring in someone who has that knowledge, that understanding, that commitment to the black experience, to the evolution, intellectual, personal, cultural, and so forth of the black and white athletes in his or her charge. That would be an outstanding beginning. But we must recognize that this thing runs much deeper than simply narrow-minded white coaches and athletic directors who have no knowledge of, no understanding of, no appreciation of the legitimate need of black athletes as distinct from athletes in general. We have a problem in this country of color blindness, if you will. We went from segregation where color meant everything to color blindness, where the presumption was that what's good for the white athlete is also good for the black athlete. And some institutions will even tell you that they don't know how many black athletes they have because they don't count that kind of thing. That kind of thing has to be cleaned up and recognized as the racist ploy that it is. It's a way of continuing to neglect the legitimate needs and interests of the black athlete on an institutional level.
All right, we're going to pay some bills, right? Let's take a commercial break. We'll be right back to wrap this up.
Okay. That was Dr. Harry Edwards. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back to get involved with Willie Wood and Cornelius Green as they also enlighten us about their past dealings in Division I as black quarterbacks. It's going to be very interesting. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So stay tuned.